December 23rd, 2021. Linda's watching a movie. It's called Unforgiven. It seems somewhat actuarial, but it's really extreme caution to try to decipher, because it's a moving spindle and spirilla. I was watching a piece of it and I'm like, that makes sense, that makes sense. Oh, God. Like, that would get confusing, but that makes sense. She was also watching some called Drew Barrymore this morning, who had some guest host, set of twins, and then Ron Howard was on, which I've seen his face when he says what his name is. But the imagery growing up, I did not have I've heard a name, not often though, but it's not an unfamiliar name, it's a familial name. But then I got the face, and I said to Linda, I leaned over, I said, you know that TV show ER? I was like, he's a handsome guy, just like the guy on that one character on your favorite show, ER. And Linda's like, yeah, but he's so much nicer. I go, yeah, but I would imagine if you found him in work mode, he might be more like the bossy guy on ER. Just saying. And she's like, so that happened. Because Lynn's like, I don't know, I call her out to lunch, but whatever. She's been getting a lot of Christmas cards from people she doesn't know. And she's like, what, did somebody give her a dress out? I'm like, and then she tries the funniest part of not knowing anything about these two whatevers that I try to distance myself from, is watching them and watching her try to figure out, is it someone she knows or is it lose contacts? I'm like, so that was amusing, because she looks at the card and she really wants to say, like, they're hers and that she knows who these people are. She hasn't a clue. The name's not something that she's able to connect with right away, and the faces are not. I don't think it's dementia. I don't think it's amnesia. I really genuinely don't think she knows any of these people, personally. Lou, on the other hand, he's not like Mr. Big Shot, but he uses these big words like philanthropist and all this stuff, which is really wonderful on one layer of an onion. But as it peels back, it becomes a hindrance at some point, because I was not on this journey with him. I had other stuff that happened to me and got stuck in some dinghy, and he's like on some yacht cruise, and it's been like, hello, from whatever. But apparently he got something to do with me. He got asked to be on some board for mental disease. I'm like, right, yeah. So now they think, I mean, like, the humans, they come up with all these really cutesy things that are just like, wow. Didn't happen in the way that you all portray them in movie producer land. And if it did happen, it happened the way that one of the problem children directed in order to get a result that was going to cause exponential problems and move things in elevator mechanics and problem areas. I mean, once an imaginary best friend, an imaginary number in actuary breaks, there's a wake and a tide that comes with that, not an a wake, because in my case it's been zombie land, like cognitive dissidence, I suppose. But again, that ties into a greater schematic that I don't have access to at the moment. So Lynn said the name of this new board he's asked to sit on. I was like, what does it stand for? I'm not going to say the name, but I was like, what does it stand for? And the last two said something about mental illness, and I'm like, right, yeah, interesting. Is that to discern if he's mentally ill, or is that to discern if I am? And what level of mental illness? Because I don't live in the human's realm of disease, disgust, money making, and casino gambling. I've had walk-on parts that I walked right off of, or walked through, because that's where the day led me, but not because I wanted to be there. And she got a card from someone else. One had something to do with a cancer center. That's the name brand that comes to mind. On some loan, forgiveness and assistance of whatever. And then there's another one that was food and hospitality. I'm seeing an ongoing theme in certain areas that I don't want to see themes or thematics, being that I'm in A zone, trapped in an O zone. I see it, I get it, I understand it, I'm not happy about it, but I don't know how to escape it and get my safety zone at A zone to get me out of the O zone and whatever it is that O zone does in order to keep itself in some sealed contaminant unit. So, update on my son, the Cat Scratch 2012, is that his basal body temperature without, I gave him ibuprofen this morning, didn't really work, but by now, which is mid-afternoon, like around noon, 12:30, basal body temperature's gone down into almost like a nominal range, where it's like almost, it's just slightly above. Eyes still glazed over, coloring not quite 100%, but at least he's out of the phase of, and so Lynn's like, I'm really surprised. I'm like, yeah, well, it's some strain on his immunity, clearly. I was like, it's the holiday season. I mean, it's a biological attack on his person for some reason. He's only 9. I have no idea why, but here we are. So, and then I watched a scientist, well, not a scientist, but he's, I mean, he kind of sort of, you know, geometric shape somehow is classified as a scientist, but he called himself not a doctor, which I appreciated the laying off of that word for a while. He called himself an internist, which I thought was really great because the like biological surveyors, I mean, some of them work on intrinsic and internal diagnostics of the machine and its breakdown. But some of us know that there's an external, extrinsic stressor that causes the intrinsic breakdown of the biological feature. I'm not the intrinsic specialist, that's what they do in their practicing of this internal machinery and whatever. I focus more on, while I know how some of the internists' mechanics work, my focus is more on extrinsic stressors, possible avoidance, whatever. But for not medical massive practice, because it's not the same on A-zone, I'm only documenting what my stressors have been and felt like at particular moments in different weather patterns that I've shown light on per sequenced day. It's a different feature. I don't know how it would be helpful or contribute to a larger, greater good. I just know that it's highly specified, and it's a highly private file. But I know that there's other pieces at work always at the same time that I'm unaware of. I just don't know how they're kaleidoscoping and fitting in order to try to seal glass once it's been broken. I know there's some epoxy compound that's able to do such things. I'm unfamiliar with where or whom to address. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth. Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies, Broken, and Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.